Hi, my name is Jenny, and I have gotten a lot of questions about how I made my Star Wars escape room. I'm no expert. I am just like you. I've seen what other people have made, and I've gone on and just kind of done some trial and error stuff to figure out what works for me. So I've gotten a lot of questions, and I'm going to try my best to answer the questions that I've gotten, and I'm going to kind of walk you through this. My school does everything with Google. So we do Google Classroom, we do Gmail and Google Drive. So I make my escape rooms in Google Slides. So I'm going to start by having a folder called Escape Room Demo, and I'm going to make a Google Slides show in this folder. So this will be my first room. So I'm going to title it Escape Room number 1 demo, since I have lots of them. All right. And then I'm going to choose my background here by going to edit my master. So if I'm going to put things on here that I don't want students to be able to manipulate, I'm going to do that by editing my master. So this will become the background of the slide that the kids see. When you change these are all the different masters that you can choose from. When you change them, it only changes it within this slideshow. So you don't have to worry about it changing your defaults in all of Google Drive. So I'm going to go down. There's a blank one down here at the bottom, and I'm going to rename it background 1. You don't have to rename it, but it makes it a little bit easier. So I'm going to have my background today. I'm just going to choose an image through Google search, and we're just going to have a winter background. So I'm going to choose one and then click insert and then done. So then when I go back to my slide, I'm going to come up here and click, and there is my slide that I just made. So this is not something that you can manipulate on this page. If you decide that you want to go back and change something, you're going to have to go up to slide and go back to edit master. So I'm going to make this about rhythms today. So we're going to talk about quarter notes and half notes. We'll keep it real simple. So I need to go get some images. My favorite website is cliparts.com, and it has transparent backgrounds. So that way you can drag it on there without having that white background behind it, and it looks like it's part of your scenery. So I'm going to search for a quarter note. And I'm going to find the one that I want, click on it, and then beware on here that there are a lot of different places to click download. You don't want to click this one. You want to look for the big orange one. Otherwise, you're going to be downloading just crap that you don't need. So download for free, click on that. And then if this is an ad, so I'm going to click X on that. So, I mean, it's a free website, but you just have to be really careful where you click. But there's a lot of really good stuff on here. So after I download that, I'm going to drag it into my escape room. So drag it in, and then I'm going to resize it. So this will now be able to be manipulated by students or clicked or moved depending on how you share it with them. So I'm going to go ahead and drop in a couple more objects here, and then we'll get back to the next step. All right, so now I have a couple more clip arts in here. So I have a quarter note, a half note, and a whole note. I want to make some buttons for students to click. So I'm going to come up here to this shape tool, and you can make any one of these things a button. I really like this one because it looks like an actual button that you might click. So you click on it, and then you drag that shape in. And then you can put it wherever you like, and you can actually type in this box. So I'm going to put a number 1, and then I'm going to make it a much bigger number so that you can see it really well. And just kind of shape it up there. You can see, what it looks like. You can change the color. When you click on it, you can tell it what colors you want it to be. So I'm going to choose blue, and I'm going to have the outline of it go away. So it just looks like a button there. So I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste that to have some different numbers to choose from. So I'm just using a Command C, Command V to do a copy and paste. You can also go up and do edit, copy, and paste. So then I'm going to go through and change these numbers. So these are the options that students can choose from for answering the question. If you drag over this and highlight all of them, you can move them all at once. So I've decided I don't want them up at the top. I'm going to put them down at the bottom. So you can use your arrow keys to drag them down, or you can grab onto them with the little 4 arrows and then move them around. So I need to put a text box up here. So I can either use a text box, or I can use one of these shapes to put the directions for what I want my students to do. So I'm going to drag this out here, and I'm going to say, click on the number of beats that are shown. And then I'm going to change my text and make it look all fancy and nice. Change the background color. Okay, so if I want them to only do one of these notes and I have all of them showing, or if I want it to change between different slides, that's up to you. So I'm going to actually have them add these together. So I'm going to need to change my answers down here. Kind of making this up as I go here. So give me a second to change those. All right, so we now have some different options down below here. So if we were to add all of these notes up, the answer would be 7. So now I'm going to show you how to make it clickable for when students are going to choose their answer. So we are going to take a shape. I usually just take a rectangle, and I'm going to cover all of these numbers. And I need to link this to my page that I want it to go to when they click on it. So I'm going to link this to my wrong answer page. So now I need to create a slide that tells kids that they got it wrong. And I'm going to create this exactly like I created this first slide. And I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then I'll show you how to link it. All right, so this is the slide that it's going to go to if a student gets the answer incorrect. So just like I did before, I dropped in some emojis, I put in some text, and now I have to link it back. So if they get it wrong, I'm going to have them go back to the very first slide. I like to use arrows, so it's up in the shape, and then I like to make them a nice bold color so they see that. So I'm going to make that yellow. I'm going to put a nice big black thing around here and say back. All right, so I'm going to link this back to that first page. So to do that, this was my first question. I'm going to copy the web address up at the top, and then I'm going to put that shape over top of my arrow, and I'm going to hyperlink it. So insert the link and paste that. And now I can see that when I click on that, it's going to go back to slide number 2. Now, I can't see my arrow, so I put this there. I have it so you can see the color of it so that you know what you're manipulating. When you're done with that, you're going to actually go up and tell it to be transparent color, and then you can see there's still a black outline here. So I want to highlight that, and I'm going to tell the outline to be transparent as well. So you have like an invisible button over top of this arrow. Now you could link the actual arrow instead of putting a box over that. But I have found on different devices, it's harder to click. So like an iPad versus a computer, doing it with the big box over it is more universal depending on which device students are going to be using when they do this. So I'm going to go back now to my slide 2 and link this page. So when they get it wrong, it's going to go to this page. So I'm going to go back to 2 and I'm going to link my shape. Now it's over all of the answers right now, and I did that on purpose. So I'm going to link that to the wrong one. And then I'm going to tell it to be transparent. And then I need to highlight and tell it where to go when I get something right. So let me go make my correct page, and then I'll show you how to do that. All right, so this is my correct page. Now you can either have it go to a correct page each time the student gets it right and then do an arrow to go on to the next one, or you can have it just auto advance to the next slide. So my correct page, I'm actually going to use that as like my final place. So I'm gonna have my second slide here. I duplicated slide number 2 and it's now slide number 3. And if when they get the right answer, I'm going to have it go right on to the next slide. So the correct answer is 7. So I'm going to take my shape and I'm going to put that over number 7. And I'm going to link that to my next page, which is number 3. And then I'm going to go ahead and make that transparent. And then here's my number 3. Now, for this one, I'm going to want to change up what the question is. Now the question is quarter note, half note, half note. Now I'm going to put that same box over here and link it to the wrong page. So for when they get it wrong, and this way I used to do it over each individual answer, but there's no reason not to. This actually saves a lot of time. So we're going to go to that wrong page and we're going to copy the web address and we're going to hyperlink that. And then we're going to go ahead and make this transparent and transparent. And then we're going to put our correct answer in. Now we have 2 here. Our correct answer for this first one took us to the next slide. I'm only going to do 2 on this one. So the correct answer for this one is going to take us to this last page. So I'm going to copy my URL for my end slide for this escape room. And I'm going to take my shape and hyperlink that over the number 5. And make that transparent and transparent. So if we want to test this out, we can click on present, or we can publish it to the web. So if we go to file and publish it to the web, that gives you that link to share with students or other teachers that will take it automatically into that present mode. So I'm going to go ahead and click on publish to the web and just go ahead and click publish. Yes, I'm sure. And then here is the link. So I'm going to go ahead and drop that link into a new tab just to do my preview. So when I first started this, I have a blank slide at the beginning. So I'm going to go ahead and skip over that. Now, click on the number of beats that are shown. Let's make sure that if I click the wrong answer, that it goes to the wrong place. So I'm going to click 3. Not quite right. And then I clicked on that back button. Now let's see if the correct answer works. So 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it immediately went on to that next slide. So let's see if it's going to go to the correct place if I get it incorrect. So let's click on 9. Okay. So now I'm going to have it go all the way back to that first one. Now, frustrating for kids to go all the way back to the beginning? Absolutely. Are they going to get more repetition with it? Absolutely. And I found that some kids were just clicking and clicking and clicking, and they weren't getting anything out of it. And when it makes them go back all the way to the beginning, they have to do a little bit more work with it. Now, something that we're going to need to go back and fix is if I click somewhere out here that doesn't have one of these hyperlinks, it's just going to auto advance to the next slide. So I'm going to show you how to fix that. We're going to go back to our original slideshow, and we are going to hyperlink the slide that we're on to itself. So we're going to take a big shape and go over the entire slide. And we are going to link it to itself. So now if I click anywhere on this slide, it will go back to the same slide. Now I'm going to leave it colored here and I'm going to click Command and the down button. So I'm going to send it back. So the other way you can do that is by right clicking or two finger clicking, and we're going to tell it the order and we're going to send it to the back. So then it shows us what's still available. So I'm going to go ahead and make it transparent. So what's still available is what can be clicked on by students. So we do want to make sure that these things are all behind this. So I'm going to go ahead and send them to the back now. So this box, I leave the outline there because it helps remind me that I've locked this page essentially. And when you present, you won't be able to see that box because it's on the outside of this slide. So we can go ahead and try this. I'm going to click on present. So if I click anywhere on here, nothing is happening until I click on the number. So that hyperlink was up at the front. And so that's the only thing that you can click. So that is how you kind of lock down a slide. All right, so let's talk about how we create a lock to get out of the room. All right, I finished my final slide here. This is where they end up when they get all of the answers correct. Now it says when you're ready, click on the padlock. So I added a padlock. You can have them click on whatever you want. It's just another image that you're going to hyperlink. Try all of the numbers so you can find creative ways to post those numbers somewhere on here. And then they're going to figure out which one is correct. So the more numbers you have there for them to try, the longer it's going to take them. So we need to make our Google form that we're going to hyperlink here. So we're going to go back to Drive and we're going to click on Google Forms. Now you're going to have multiple rooms, or you may have multiple rooms. So you want to make sure that you title them appropriately so you know which one goes where. All right, and I'm going to say, what is the correct number to escape? I'm going to choose short answer, and then I'm going to make sure that it's required. And then these three dots down here, I'm going to click on response validation. So this is how I ensure that they can't get through until they have the correct number. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to say that number 18 is what's going to be correct. So I'm going to choose that it's a number and that it is equal to the number 18. And then this is where the students will put their answer. And this is what it will show up when they get it incorrect. Depending on your school, if you wanted to lock down that form, so only your students could do it, you can go up to the settings and you can change if you wanted to collect email addresses, if you only want them to be able to do the escape room once, you can limit it to your school district. I don't limit it to the school district. I don't collect the email addresses. If you collect the email addresses, it's going to make the kids put their name and their address in there. I don't do that except maybe on the final lock if I'm trying to track to see how far kids get. Editing after submitting doesn't really matter because they can only get to the submission point if they get it correct. So I'm going to click save on my settings there. And then to get to where the students will take it, I'm going to click on this little eyeball up here, the preview. And this is what it will look like from the student's perspective. So I'm going to copy that link and I'm going to hyperlink my padlock so that it will go directly to that page. And I'm going to go ahead and make that transparent. And then I know some of you wanted to know how I get the words to come down like in a paragraph form. So if I highlight this and I go up to these three dots and click animate, it's going to give me an option of how I want it to show up when they get to this page. So I don't ever do the on click because the students aren't necessarily clicking. I want it to be automatic. So I can do after previous or with previous. For the first one, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to have it fade in, and I'm going to do it by paragraph, and I can choose how fast or how slow I want it to do that. So the by paragraph is where it's going to go like line by line. So I can try that out. I can click play, and it's going to show me what that does. So it looks like it goes by sentence. So however you want that to come out. I know that sometimes, like as teachers, we want it to go slow so that kids will read it. But I have found that if it goes too slow, students will just start clicking and they won't read it at all. So I wouldn't recommend going too slow on that. So then I'm going to go ahead and X out of that. And now we need to make another room just like this to get to our second room. And then a third one, however many rooms you want to have. I usually give the kids like a worksheet or something where they can write down their numbers. When I get to that final lock, I will typically have something that will involve all of those numbers. So maybe room number 1 plus room number 2 plus a half note plus room number 3 or something like that. And that'll get you to that final one. So we've already published this. So when you share that with kids, you're going to share that published link. And let's talk about adding music in. All right, so to add music, I know some of you have asked why I'm not putting this on Teachers Pay Teachers. It's because I don't own the rights to any of this stuff. So I'm just taking things off of the internet and putting them all together. And I'm not going to get any money for that. So I'm just using it for educational purposes. So I actually use this website to download YouTube music, or I've just searched for free MP3s. And I got the Star Wars music from a free MP3 site, but I don't think that that was copyright compliant. That person was probably just giving things away in a way that they shouldn't have been. But anyway, so I have searched in YouTube for a non-copyright background music. So to convert this, I'm going to copy my URL and I'm going to drop it into this site. Now, this is kind of like that clip arts one. You have to be careful where you're clicking to make sure that you're not downloading something incorrectly. So I'm going to click convert. And we will come back to this. All right, once that's done loading, you see there's a couple different buttons that pop up. So this is where you want to be careful. You want to click on the download button. If you click these down here, it says advertising. So these would be taking you somewhere else. So we'd want to click download. And then it's going to download that MP3 to our computer. From there, you're going to upload that into Google Drive, and then I'll show you how to put that into your slide. So while that's all working, I'm going to show you another option that I've seen some people do. I'll take the same URL, and you can drop that into a slide and just make it really, really tiny. So to insert a YouTube video, you're going to click Insert Video. And you can do it by URL, or you can search it through YouTube right in here. So I'm going to put that URL in there, and it's going to pop up that same thing. I'm going to click on it to select it, and then go ahead and choose select. So this is probably more copyright compliant because you're still you're taking it directly from YouTube and then putting it on here and not saying that it's your own. But honestly, I don't know. So then you just make it itty bitty so that you can't see it and you can hide it, and you can do that same thing where you can take the order and send it to the back, or put a shape over it so somebody can't see it. Now, to make it play automatically when you start, you're going to click on it, and then it shows up in format options over here. If that doesn't pop up when you click it, I guess maybe it just pops up when you do. If it doesn't pop up right away when you click it, highlight it and then come up here and click on format options. From there, you can tell it where to start and end. So like this is a 13-minute video. I don't want it to be that long. So I'm just going to tell it to end at 5 minutes. Now, if I were actually doing this, I would find exactly the right clip that I wanted. Now, if you were actually embedding a video in here that you wanted them to watch, it would do the same thing, but you just make it bigger so that they could see it. We don't want it to do the on click. We want it to go automatically. If you wanted them to, if it was a video you wanted them to watch, you would click play manual and they would click on that play button when they were ready. But I'm going to do automatically so that music starts right away. All right, so back to that music that we downloaded. I'm going to put that into Drive just by dragging it and dropping it into that same folder. Folders are really important in Drive so that you can keep everything that goes together in one place so that they don't get all lost. And you're going to want to be able to find it so that we can put it in there. So it named it exactly what it was from YouTube. So in order to put that into my escape room, I'm going to do kind of the same thing that I did for the YouTube video. And I'm going to do Insert, and I'm going to choose Audio. So from there, it's going to bring up my most recent, which is what I just downloaded into my folder or uploaded into my folder. Our school internet's a little slow today. Okay, so there's my free music. I'm going to click on Select. And it's going to create this little audio button. Now, this audio button I can choose to hide when I'm presenting. It's going to do that same thing with the format options that the YouTube video did. I want it to start automatically. And you can choose how loud or how soft it is. I usually choose hide icon when presenting so that it's not in the way and it just kind of helps with the magic of everything. I don't loop the audio because when kids get through one room, they don't usually remember to close a tab. So if you choose different music for each one of your rooms, all of a sudden you've got like a million different sounds going on at once, and it's a little bit overwhelming. So I don't have it stop on the slide change so that it keeps going throughout the whole game. So depending on what kind of game you're doing and how long you think it will last will depend on how long you want your music clip to be. A lot of times I will take my music and put it in GarageBand, and then I'll do my clips there. So if you want your audio to be shown, you can change the size just by clicking and dragging here or by writing things in. And you can change the color to match what is on your screen if that's something that maybe you wanted kids to be able to see and click on. One thing that I have learned with going between different devices on the iPad, you cannot put your audio on the very first slide because when you go to present, it won't automatically start. So a workaround for that would be to start it on the second slide. So maybe have like a welcome page on that first slide. And then when you get to the second slide, that music will automatically start. You do the same thing for like sound effects. So like if you wanted a different sound effect on this slide when they do something wrong to be like, uh-oh, you would add that sound in there, and then you would tell it to play automatically and not loop, and it would just be a really short clip. Yeah. So as far as transparent images go, if you can't find what you want on that first clip arts page that I showed you, there is another website that you can go to. So I'm going to take this for an example, this cat picture from Google. And I'm going to go to this website called remove.bg. And this will help give me that transparent background. So all I have to do is drag my image into this website. So I'm going to drag it in, and it's going to do its magic. So these gray and white boxes back here tell me that it's transparent, so that when I drag it into my escape room, it will just go with the background and not be like a square. If there was anything that it missed, it usually does a pretty good job. You can go ahead and edit, or if I decided I just don't want this cat to have a tail for some reason, I'm going to choose Erase, and then I can go through and get rid of this cat's tail. I don't know why you would want that, but it's an option. When you're done with it, you can just click download. If I want to go back to that original, here's that download button, and it'll just download straight to your computer. All right, getting to your next escape room. I'm going to show you how to get from that Google form to the next room. So you would have your next room in the Google slide. You're going to make a separate slideshow, and you're going to share that or copy that link. So just to keep it real easy, I'm just going to make a copy of my first one here. Okay, so here's my copy. So we would pretend that this is just my second room, and you're gonna publish it, and you're gonna take that same length from where you published it, and we're gonna copy that link. So we're gonna publish it to the web. There's my link. So I'm gonna highlight all of that and copy it. And now I'm going to go to my Google form. So this was that first one for that key or the lock for that first room. And I'm going to go up to these settings and presentation and confirmation message. So this is what it's going to say when they unlock the room. So congratulations, you have unlocked the room. Make sure you write down the number that worked. Here is the link to the next room. And then I paste that. And then when they are submitting the form, that is going to pop up, and that's how they will click to get to the next room. So that was a lot of information to throw at you all at once, and I hope that it answered your questions. I'm sure you're going to have more questions. If you do have more questions, please let me know. I'd be happy to answer them. But just like you, I'm a teacher. I'm working through all the same crap that you are right now, and I know I'm sometimes a little bit slow to get back to people, but I'm more than happy to help you troubleshoot with things. So I'm glad you liked my escape room. I am currently working on one for the movie Soul, and when I have that one done, I will be sure to share that with everybody. So stay safe and stay healthy, and try to enjoy the rest of your school year.